Can you get a good chunk of that or all of that in one offseason?
It's hard, but it is doable. You got a hit on 6 and 24 and the pick early, I believe 39, 30, I believe, don't quote me on it, the pick high in the second round, as they did last year. They nailed those picks last year. You got to nail them again. Have to sprinkle in some free agency as well, because even though you can't overspend, you got to spend wisely.
Cleveland may have finally learned its lesson. After seasons of quarterback chaos, inconsistent protection, and offensive instability, the Browns front office has dropped a critical update about the 2026 offensive line rebuild. This is not small talk. This is structural planning. With multiple veteran linemen heading toward free agency and premium draft picks in hand, the organization appears ready to attack the trenches head-on.
I think what you see is elite playmaking ability. That's in him. You've seen it, we've seen it, you saw it in college, you saw it on tape last year. Sure, there's a ways to go, but what rookie isn't? I mean, what first-year player doesn't have a long way to go? So I'm excited to get started with him and all of our quarterbacks and all of our players. I think any time that you have a player that at one time has exhibited the skill set at an elite level, I think you're always going to give them the benefit of the doubt that somehow we might be able to get that out of them again.
And if they truly intend to build around a young quarterback like Shedeur Sanders, this is where it starts. Because in the NFL, everything begins up front, and Cleveland's foundation is about to be tested. The Cleveland Browns have quietly shifted the tone of their offseason conversation. For months, headlines centered on quarterback debates, trading rumors, and wide receiver speculation. But now, the front office has made something clear. The offensive line is the priority. That matters. Because when teams publicly acknowledge the trenches, it signals long-term thinking. The Browns are not just looking to patch holes. They are preparing for turnover. They are preparing for youth. They are preparing for structural change.
The other thing Andrew Berry talked about was rebuilding the offensive line. He kind of pointed to the Bears, who brought in, I think it was four new linemen. Can you see a scenario where that happens?
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. That really stood out to me too. Just the way that they went out and knew they needed offensive line help across the board, and so they attacked it. And I think for Andrew, the way he's looking at this is, how do I attack this at all levels? So
the 2026 draft cycle presents an opportunity. The combine evaluations are complete. The scouting reports are circulating, and Cleveland has already identified offensive line prospects worth serious investment. This is not reactionary. This is preventative.
Comes up because you just don't know, you really don't know anything about this line at this point. Wyatt Teller's already said goodbye. Jack Conklin's probably gone, and even if he comes back, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. You can't count on DeJuan Jones. You can't just plug him in. He's got to earn it, and then he's got to stay healthy. We don't know what Joel's going to do. We don't know what they're going to do at center, if Ethan Posick will be healthy and back, or if Luke Whippler will be healthy and good enough. So
an unstable offensive line creates chaos across the entire roster. It limits the run game. It forces quarterbacks into rushed decisions. It destroys rhythm. And Cleveland knows that if they are serious about competing in the AFC North, they must match physicality with Baltimore and Pittsburgh in the trenches. This rebuild is about durability. It is about continuity. It is about identity. For years, the Browns have rotated linemen due to injury and contract disputes. That instability compounds over time. Now, with veteran contracts expiring and fresh draft capital available, the front office has a chance to reset the tone. And make no mistake, if Cleveland wants stability at quarterback, this rebuild is non-negotiable. The urgency behind this rebuild becomes clearer when you examine the contract situation. Several veteran offensive linemen are approaching unrestricted free agency. Once the market opens, Cleveland could lose experienced depth and starting-level talent overnight. Free agency begins soon, and in today's NFL, quality offensive linemen command serious money. If the Browns choose not to re-sign key veterans, that opens multiple starting spots. If they attempt to retain everyone, it strains cap flexibility. This is the tension point. Veteran players bring leadership and stability, but they also come with wear and mileage. Injuries have already tested this group in recent seasons. Continuity is valuable, yet durability matters more.
What you want to do
Right.
offensively, and it's usually younger guys in free agency.
It's hard with free agents because, listen, if they were that good, generally speaking, the team keeps them.
Yeah.
There's always different circumstances. Like, for example, take Tyler Linderbaum, who Todd Monken had in Baltimore. He's going to hit free agency as a center. And the reason you can't tag him is because that centers get the same as offensive tackles.
Right.
If Cleveland allows multiple linemen to walk, the rebuild accelerates. If they retain one or two and draft the rest, it becomes a hybrid transition. Either way, the message is clear. Change is coming. Free agency also shapes draft strategy. If Cleveland signs a veteran tackle, they may draft interior line help. If they lose both tackle and guard depth, those early picks suddenly become trench-focused. This is where smart roster architecture matters. You cannot gamble at offensive line. You cannot rely on mid-round surprises to protect franchise quarterbacks. You cannot assume chemistry will magically form in training camp. Cleveland knows this. The decisions made in the next few weeks will dictate whether this rebuild feels calculated or rushed. And once free agency opens, there will be no hiding from the consequences. Cleveland is not entering this rebuild empty-handed. They have premium draft capital, and that changes everything. With a 6th overall pick, a 24th pick, and a second-round selection at 39, the Browns have leverage. These are not late-round flyers. These are impact opportunities. Pick 6 alone carries enormous weight. If the Browns choose to prioritize the offensive line early, they could land a cornerstone tackle, the kind of player who anchors a unit for a decade. Top-tier linemen rarely fall outside the first 10 selections. If Cleveland truly wants elite protection, this is the range where it happens. Pick 24 provides flexibility. That slot allows them to double down in the trenches or pivot to receiver if free agency solves part of the line issue. It is a strategic pressure point. Pick 39 offers depth value. That's where interior linemen with starter potential often emerge. Guards and centers capable of contributing immediately frequently come off the board in that range.
The key is discipline. The Browns must resist the temptation to chase flash. Drafting offensive linemen does not sell jerseys immediately. It does not dominate social media cycles, but it builds sustainability. If Cleveland uses 2 of its first 3 picks on offensive linemen, it sends a message. This franchise is done playing games with protection. That is how you stabilize a quarterback. That is how you win cold weather games in December. That is how you compete in a physical division. Reports indicate Cleveland has been evaluating several top offensive line prospects closely. One name generating buzz is Francis Magoa out of Miami, projected as a potential top 10 selection. Athletic, powerful, technically refined, he profiles as a franchise tackle, a plug-and-play solution. If Cleveland selects him at 6, it signals full commitment to rebuilding the edge. Another prospect under evaluation is Blake Miller, a technically sound lineman with versatility across multiple spots. Players like Miller may not dominate headlines, but they fit the mold of long-term starters. This scouting phase matters. Offensive line evaluation is about more than highlight clips. It is about footwork under pressure. It is about hand placement. It is about recovery speed. It is about durability history. The Browns appear to be studying these details carefully. They understand that drafting alignment is not about ceiling alone. It is about floor. You need consistency. You need reliability. You need players who do not panic when the pocket collapses. The AFC North punishes weak lines. Elite pass rushers attack relentlessly. If Cleveland miscalculates here, it will show immediately. But if they get it right, this offensive line rebuild becomes the foundation of a multi-year competitive window. And when that foundation solidifies, every other decision becomes easier. Because no matter who lines up at quarterback, the real rebuild always starts up front. Every conversation about Cleveland eventually circles back to the quarterback. But here's the truth most teams learn the hard way. It doesn't matter who lines up under center if the protection collapses.
The players decide who plays. I've never decided who plays. I know that I'm excited to work with them. I'm excited to work with all of our players on the roster. That's what you're paid to do as a coach. Just like Andrew's going to trust what we call on 4th and 1, I'm going to trust him that we're going to put an elite roster together allows us to build a consistent winner.
You can debate Shedeur Sanders, you can debate Deshaun Watson, you can debate veteran additions or draft prospects. None of it sticks without stability in front of them. Quarterbacks develop through rhythm, through timing, through trust in the pocket. When a quarterback feels phantom pressure, mechanics break down, reads speed up, footwork shortens, confidence erodes. Cleveland has seen this before. Injuries along the offensive line have forced constant reshuffling, different combinations, different communication calls, different chemistry. That instability spreads into the offense like a crack in glass. And in the AFC North, protection is not optional. Baltimore brings pressure. Pittsburgh brings pressure. Cincinnati can generate pressure without blitzing. If Cleveland wants to compete in that environment, it must build a wall first. This is about more than sacks allowed. It is about offensive identity. A strong offensive line allows you to establish the run game. It allows you to dictate tempo. It allows play action to breathe. It allows receivers to finish routes. It allows quarterbacks to climb the pocket instead of escaping it. If the Browns truly intend to build around a young quarterback in 2026 and beyond, the smartest investment is not another skill position weapon. It is not a splash trade. It is 5 cohesive, durable linemen who can grow together. Protection is not glamorous. It does not trend, but it wins. And if Cleveland gets this part right, everything else becomes sustainable instead of fragile. Even as the offensive line rebuild takes shape, the quarterback conversation refuses to quiet down. Rumors continue to swirl. Veteran names surface. Trade speculation floats. Analysts debate whether the Browns will bring in competition or finally commit to Shedeur Sanders. This is the tension inside Cleveland's strategy. Todd Monken has publicly expressed excitement about Shedeur's mobility, pocket awareness, and playmaking instincts. That matters. Offensive coordinators do not casually praise traits like that unless they see developmental upside. At the same time, there remains the lingering presence of Deshaun Watson, former elite talent, massive contract, injury history, complicated expectations. The front office appears to be balancing 2 timelines, short-term stability and long-term development. Veteran additions offer insurance. They create fallback options. They protect against early season struggles, but they also risk creating uncertainty. Quarterback rooms that feel crowded rarely feel stable. If Cleveland drafts offensive linemen early and still pursues another veteran quarterback, it sends mixed signals. Are they building for Shedeur or hedging against him? The smartest approach might be clarity. If Shedeur is the developmental priority, then give him protection, reps, and defined leadership. Let the competition happen naturally in camp, but avoid the 4-way carousel that derails growth. If Cleveland leans veteran, then the offensive line rebuild becomes even more critical to maximize that window. Right now, the messaging suggests internal excitement about Shedeur, paired with cautious front office flexibility. But at some point, the Browns must choose direction over ambiguity, because offensive line rebuilding only reaches full value when you know exactly who you are protecting. This offensive line rebuild is bigger than draft picks and depth charts. It's about identity. For years, Cleveland has fluctuated between aggressive swings and cautious resets. Now the organization stands at a defining point. If they commit to rebuilding the trenches first, they signal discipline, they signal patience, they signal a franchise that understands sustainable success begins with structure. Culture forms in the offensive line room. Toughness, communication, accountability. When that unit stabilizes, the entire team stabilizes. Quarterbacks gain confidence. Coaches call games more freely. The locker room feels direction instead of doubt. If this rebuild is handled deliberately, Cleveland can enter 2026 with clarity instead of chaos. A protected quarterback, a defined system, a roster built with intention. The Browns have the assets. They have the opportunity. What matters now is execution. Because championships are rarely built with noise. They are built in the trenches.